right, so we're officially live. So welcome everybody to the second podcast in the Miss Finance Tutorials podcast series. So today and you might know him as the 15-minute guy from LinkedIn, but I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Ashley to introduce himself. Not that you need an introduction, but go ahead.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm the 15-minute guy. And the reason I call myself the 15-minute guy is I teach people how to use LinkedIn in just 15 minutes a day, because life's too busy, isn't it? And what I do is I have 15-minute meetings as well, Rebecca. You know, when you go into Outlook and you book a meeting with somebody, it defaults to an hour. Well, the first 10, 15 minutes, we talk about the weather. We get a little bit of business done. And the last 10 minutes, we talk about our kids. And it's like, let's just do 15 minutes. So yeah, so I'm the 15-minute guy. It raises a few eyebrows now and again, but people remember me.
I was going to say, and it's quite interesting how me and Ashley actually met. So we've probably known each other now for 2 years, I'd say, through the Six Figure Club, through Joe and Zoe.
Absolutely.
And I've seen Ashley at various events. If you ever go to Accountex North or London, he's there. Are you going to the ICB Summit next week?
I'm not, no. But I am actually on the summit. So on the Thursday, so probably this time next week, I'm doing a session. So yeah, I'll be helping all the lovely bookkeepers, ICB members there.
Excellent. And what time's your session?
2:20, something like that. So
Right,
it's in the afternoon. So yeah, make sure you join us.
You're after me. I'm at 1 o'clock talking about
outsourcing.
So I'll put some links to that into the Facebook group for those that want to watch as well. So let's just talk about then with your on LinkedIn. How did you get into all of that? Give us a little bit of a story. I know, obviously, but the viewers are not going to necessarily.
Sure. So LinkedIn, right? I've been using it for donkey's years, but just a little bit. And over the last few years, we're talking more about social selling, content marketing, and things like that. And I'm really into that. And I love the idea of how it all works. I've been in sales for 30 years. And so I started out in sales when we didn't have computers. I knocked on doors. I wrote letters. My first job I had in sales, I actually purchased a typewriter so I could write letters to people. And yeah, I absolutely excelled in that role, because my boss turned around to me, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? And I tried all these amazing things because it was all new to me. I'd never worked in business. I was a chef before. So all I'd done is make cakes. So to go into the world of business and finance was quite weird. And my boss said, oh, do this, do that. And so I did everything that he told me. And I was flying, absolutely, really, really good at sales. But all of that time, the reason I was good at sales is I was building up relationships with my clients. I was working for an insurance company, so I'd go around to people's houses to collect the premium, and I'd speak to their neighbor and stuff like that. And they were all building up this know, like, and trust. And so when LinkedIn comes along, I just be me on LinkedIn, and people know me, they like me, and then they trust me. And then when all of that's sorted, they want to buy from me. And so I thought, well, when I set up my own business, so 2.5 years ago, I left my employer. And I was going to get myself another job. And my wife turned around to me and said, you're not having another job. You've had 30. So you need to just do it on your own. And I said, well, what can I do? She said, well, you can coach people like you've been doing. So I can do that. That's I enjoy it and what have you. So she was 110% behind me. And, we'd had a few savings, so we could use that if we didn't make any money. It'd be absolutely fine. But I don't know about you, but have you ever heard of a non-compete clause or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, I hadn't. And I thought that, we're mates, I've worked for you for a while, you'd be fine. But no, I was held to account, and fair enough. I signed a piece of paper that said I couldn't do certain things. And so I thought, right, what can I do now? And so I went into LinkedIn, because I've been helping people with LinkedIn in my previous role. And I turned around to my ex-boss and said, is that okay? And that was fine. So I had the green light. So I knew I didn't have to look over my shoulder. And I just went all in on LinkedIn. And I have had so much fun. If I'd have just gone and done what I thought I was going to do, I don't think I'd be asked to be on podcasts. I wouldn't have written a book. I've written a book. And I get asked to do keynote speeches for SEMA. I've done training for the AAT. I've spoken at Accountex twice. Just incredible, all the doors that have opened, because I've just doubled down on one thing. I don't know anything about Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat, or there's another one called Tactic or something.
It's,
I,
yeah,
I do know it's called
I
TikTok,
know.
but the thing is, you end up being a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Yeah.
I eat, drink, and sleep LinkedIn. I've literally just come off a little session. They invited me into like a mastermind group, and I had 8 people in there, and they were firing all these questions at me, and it was so much fun because I knew all the answers. And,
Yeah.
and you know, and because I've been doing it so long, and if I didn't know the answer, I'd have an opinion because I've seen this working, I've seen that working, I've seen that hasn't worked, and if you do this, that, and so it's a real example of why niching down is so important.
I think what's interesting was you were probably the first person I came across that was truly invested in LinkedIn. And if you went back 2 years ago, or even 3 or 4 years ago, LinkedIn was this really, to me, an overly professional setting. It was about your CV, it was about getting a job, and it wasn't, even for myself, I wasn't using LinkedIn as a place where I could engage with people or network or build my network up. It just wasn't deemed upon in that way. So for you to take that leap of faith into LinkedIn even back then and show what was possible, to me is actually quite incredible.
I walk the walk and I talk the talk, and I think there's a lot of people out there telling you to do this, telling you to do that, but they don't do it themselves. And so I was on I don't know if you've heard of Small Business Saturday, but they do some amazing things. They do some amazing things, and really helping us small business owners. And they get all these speakers in, and they had a speaker in that told us all about social media, but because they did everything, they didn't go to the depth that I go to. So and it's sort of like, I want to know a little bit more. And people were putting questions in the box, and I was answering the questions because I'm really deep on LinkedIn. If you want some help with Instagram, then I'm going to have to recommend you to my friend Becky, because I really don't have a clue.
No, but then when it comes to bookkeepers and accountants, I always find when even now I whenever I'm asked, I always say LinkedIn is the biggest opportunity to me compared to the other social medias platforms out there, including TikTok in that. If you want to grow your business, I think LinkedIn is the place to be. But when you say that, I'm often met with, well, isn't that just for professionals? Or I can't be myself on LinkedIn because I am a bookkeeper and accountant, and we've got to act a certain way and dress a certain way, all the rest of it. What would your answer be to any of that?
He reaches behind him and he picks up a piece of card, and on that piece of card it's an advert for the workshop that we did in the summer. And so because it was local, it wasn't online, it was a proper real event, and it was local, I thought, I'll print some flyers off and I'll deliver them to shops and offices around the local area. We're doing it in a couple of weeks' time, just down the road. Why don't you come along? And I live in Sidmouth. I live in a seaside town, very high retirement population. So at the top of town, one of the most popular shops is the Motability scooter shop. So you can go in there and you can buy a little motor scooter. They've got chairs in there that lift you up. They've got gadgets to make pouring a hot kettle easy peasy. And I went in there and I said, oh, you need to come on the workshop, learn Instagram and LinkedIn, because I was working with Becky. And he goes, oh, no. My demographic won't be using LinkedIn. And I totally get where he's coming from. Yeah. But if this guy started writing content on LinkedIn about the latest gadget that's come in, this little device that allows you to do up your shoes for when you're sat in your chair, this little device will help you get out of the bath, this Motability scooter can charge in an hour, all these little things that I keep seeing. When my dad's in film, I go, Dad, you need to get down to see Bob. Yeah. And it's that sort of thing. And it just because your ideal client isn't on LinkedIn, your ideal referrer could be on LinkedIn. And your ideal referrer could be parents or siblings of your ideal client. They could be customers of your ideal client. So don't dismiss it just because it's for professionals. Everybody's on there. There's a guy that is on LinkedIn, and he does an amazing job. His name's called Craig Brooks, and he gets 25% of his business by what he does on LinkedIn. Now, this guy is a double glazing guy. He's got a double glazing window company, and he can only sell in Sheffield. So when you think about that, 25% of his business coming from LinkedIn is absolutely incredible. Wow. I don't think there's any business that wouldn't get business from doing the right thing on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and I'd say it's interesting now. I know different social media platforms work in different ways, don't they? So, TikTok's got a different algorithm to Facebook to LinkedIn, etc. And like you, I try and stick to my guns. YouTube is my baby. And now it's TikTok a little bit, but I still don't dance and do all the things that everybody else does. It's very educational for me. But when it comes to LinkedIn, again, when it comes to actually posting in the content that you want to do, should we on there be simply posting the likes of, professional content, very techie content, or are we allowed, to show a little bit of personality there? How does that work?
Okay. I've been working with accountants and bookkeepers for over 16 years. And everybody says to me, oh my goodness, that must be so boring and all of that. And I go, no. The accountants and bookkeepers that I know are so cool. Some of them even run podcasts. They're so cool. and so the thing is, right, if I was setting out and starting up my bookkeeping business today, all right, I would do Tax Tip Tuesdays. So every single Tuesday, I would do a little video, short, 30 to 90 seconds long, about a little tax tip. I would then put that into a bit of software. I use Loom, and then I'd have the transcript, and then I'd turn that into a blog. So that would be every Tuesday. Every Friday, I'd do something fun. All right. And maybe another day of the week, I'd be sharing some information about what you could do in your business. So these are some of the tools that I use in my business. So I use Canva to do this, or I use StreamYard to go live, or whatever, but some little tools. So then people start seeing Ashley, the bookkeeper, not only clever on tax, but he's really helpful at other things. Oh, and he's funny on a Friday. Yeah. And so what you're getting the serious Ashley with the tax, you're getting the helpful Ashley with the tools, and you're getting the fun guy on a Friday. And if you start doing that, people will start resonating with you.
Yeah. And do you think it's still a place then, for because in these groups that I have, there's a lot of students, as you know, there's like 7,000 students, and even more than that across some of the others. But for them, where they're trying to find a job, or they're trying to they're not at the point where they've got their own business yet, but they're trying to get a bit of exposure out there. Would you say that it's still a great place for those individuals as well?
Oh my goodness! If I was a student, all of this, I never had any of this when I was a student.
Neither did I.
No, I didn't even have a computer when I was a student. Anyway, that's all by the by, because I was born in ancient times. But if I was a student now, I would be finding people in my area, and you're working with accountancy students, so I would be following people like you and me, Francesca Tricarico and Rachel Harris and those sorts of people. See what they're doing, follow them. But what you're doing by following them, you're then seeing their content, and then if you start commenting on their content, people start seeing you. But by commenting on posts, then people will you start reading the post, you start understanding how it all works. And one of the things that people say, if you're going to write a book, make sure you've read a few books, because you don't know what a book's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
If you're a student and you're listening to this, just start doing stuff on a regular basis, and you'll get an idea of how it works. When you first drive a car, you probably picked up a bit by watching your family driving, but there's still a lot of work to go into. But when you've passed your test and you've been driving a few years, you sort of think it's dead easy to drive. But can you remember back when you first had your lesson and you had to do the clutch and the changing gear and looking in the mirror and everything else you got to do? It's surprising that you didn't crash. Some of us might have done.
I crashed. I actually failed my exam 3 times.
Oh, bless you.
Passed on the third attempt.
So that makes you a better driver than me.
But what again? Something that I'm always getting asked about, not just on like LinkedIn but the other social media platforms, is people give up really easily. So they, start posting, they don't see any traction, and they just sort of think, oh, it's been 2 weeks now. I've had one heart comment or one like on my post. I'm giving up. But I've shared this 1,000 times. When I started that YouTube channel, I think it was 3 months in, I had 26 subscribers, and I thought I'd won the lottery. I was so happy. But on LinkedIn, again, I've seen the same kind of traction that initially, you're not going to get all those comments, 26 reactions, etc., all those impressions, but it's a long game to me. But yeah, do you agree with that? And what would be your tips, if you do, with how to kind of cope with that? And do you think consistency long term is better? Do you think posting every day is better? Or what's your tips?
That's like 7 questions there, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Thank you. But the thing is, right, you're going to come on LinkedIn and you're going to see somebody like Rebecca or see somebody like me and thinking, oh my goodness, I'm never going to be that good. All right. You jump in your car and you'd have your first driving lesson. You think, oh, I'm never going to be able to drive like my family. Oh, this is so difficult. What you've got to do is you've got to stop. All right. Imagine that you're climbing a mountain. All right. And at the top of the mountain, or near the top is Rebecca and me and Zoe or whoever else you're following on LinkedIn doing amazing things. But they're at the top of the mountain and you're looking up. It doesn't work on a podcast. But we're always worried about getting there. And what we need to do is just stop, turn around and look back down the mountain to see how far we've come. Because I know for a fact that when you set up your YouTube channel, you had no followers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also know for a fact that when Stephen Bartlett started doing his podcast, he had no subscribers. Yeah. I also know for a fact that when Gary V started doing stuff on LinkedIn, he had no followers. Yeah. But now look at them. And I bet these, Stephen Bartlett and Gary Vaynerchuk, yeah, I bet they're looking at each other thinking, oh, he's better than me, he's better than me. They've got the same anxiety that new people have got, that you and I have got. But every now and again they stop and they think, my goodness. Stephen Bartlett, he probably sits there some days and thinks, my goodness, I've come so far from that house that I used to live in Plymouth. He tells a story of how he looked up at planes in the sky and thinking, oh, it's amazing to be able to just fly somewhere. Yeah. And then I'm sure I heard another story of how, when he gets on a plane, he turns, I'm not sure which way, I'm not good on left and right, but he doesn't go in first class or business class. And he goes, and it's not like one day I'm going to be, and now he thinks nothing of it going first class because that's what he always does. But he's probably sat there thinking, why haven't I got a private jet?
Yeah, like the nest.
Absolutely, because that's in our nature. That's in our nature. And so if you're struggling and it's not happening, it will happen. I promise you, because when I started my business, I had no customers, no money coming in, and nobody knew who the 15-minute guy was.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just about consistency and having that oomph to just keep going initially, but keep posting, keep putting content out there.
What you need to do, if you're listening to this right now and you've got access to Netflix, is go and watch the movie King Richard. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh my goodness. King Richard is about Richard Williams. Richard Williams is the father of Serena and Venus Williams. Oh. And he had a plan for his girls before they were born. Oh, he was watching some tennis match and heard that someone earned a bit of money playing tennis. And he thought, this could change our lives. And so he spent all of his time teaching those girls to play tennis. But he brought them up beautifully. The story is a brilliant story. And it's an amazing film. And they've captured it absolutely beautifully. So, yeah, watch that. Because Venus Williams and Serena Williams, between them, are worth millions. Yeah. But they had it hard at the start.
Yeah.
They had it hard at the start. And some of the things that happened during the story is just incredible. I'd love to tell you all about it because I only finished watching it last night. But it is a truly incredible, inspirational story. And it wasn't about winning a match. It was bigger than that. And you're going to have to go and watch it to find out. But yeah, so, I have days where I think, what am I doing? But I'm focusing on the top of the mountain. Yeah, because I know when I get to the top of the mountain, it will all be in place. And what I'm doing now is I'm building those foundations. And every now and again, I stop and I look back to see how far I come. Every now and again, I go and look at my recommendations on the bottom of my LinkedIn profile. And someone said, oh, it's great working with you, or stuff like that. And it's all those sorts of things. And every single Friday, I write a gratitude post. And I'm grateful for just the simple things in life. And just by being grateful for those, it just makes you think, right, yes, I am doing the right thing. So it's just stopping and not comparing yourself with everybody else, comparing yourself with who you were yesterday, last week, last month, last year.
And just know, I think we do a really bad job of that in our industry. We're always comparing ourselves to everybody else. And I'm always mindful that this is my journey and it might, I'm doing it my way. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, it's right. But just do it for you and the way you want to do it. I can listen to you all day, Ashley, honestly. If you ever want a pep talk or you want, you need something on a Monday morning or a Tuesday just to bring yourself up, listen to Ashley. Go on LinkedIn, go find him. It's just excellent. He's known as the sunshine in our industry at this point.
Oh, bless you.
But if anybody wants to follow you, Ashley, where can they find you? Have you got any links, websites?
Well, so here's the thing, right? If you're using LinkedIn properly and you've used it for a while, Google indexes LinkedIn. So the chances are if you Google the 15-minute guy, you'll find me.
Yeah,
if you Google Ashley Leeds, the very first thing that's going to come up is my LinkedIn profile. So yeah, I'm all over LinkedIn. My name's Ashley Leeds. I'm the 15-minute guy, and that's where you're going to find me. You might find me on whatever it's called, Instagram. But yeah, go and find me on LinkedIn. I'm always on it, and because I pay for premium, then you can send me a message without having to connect with me. So if you've got any questions, just reach out. In my contact details, there's loads and loads of free resources. And on the front page of my LinkedIn, and it follows me around now, it says my website. And if you go to my website, there's loads of free links there to help you with LinkedIn.
So, and obviously as well, Ashley, you've written the book.
I have written the book. Yes, you can see it behind
you have it there.
Yeah, I do. Oh, I'm connected to the. I can't move. I've got the wrong connection. Oh, there we go. There's the book. So it's 101 ideas for LinkedIn. So it's just content made easy. And the thing is, right? We get to our computer screen. And we've got to write some content. Oh, what do I do? And it's sort of like I don't know. Open up a page. There's a suggestion, and so you've got a high level suggestion, but I break it down, and then I give you a little table of what you can write some notes, so then you can use that bit of content another day and maybe change it a little bit.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Ashley. I'm gonna end it there, and I'm sure if there's any questions that anybody has, feel free to pop them to myself or to Ashley. And if you really can't find Ashley, which I'm sure you will be able to do, you can see him in my connections on LinkedIn, and I'll add a comment on there today just so you've got that easy link access. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Ashley, and we'll speak again soon, I'm sure.
Thanks for having me. Cheerio now. Bye-bye.